Good evening, everyone. Welcome tonight. Date is Monday, July 13th, 2026. The time is 5:30 p.m. and we are here for our regular council meeting. And I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting here tonight on the traditional territory of Stahelis. There is no public hearing tonight. Is there any introduction of late items? Seeing none, I'll move on. And we're at approval of the agenda.
So moved, Mayor Vidal.
Second. Moved by Councillor Facio, seconded by Councillor Schweinbens. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Is there any declarations of conflict of interest tonight? Thank you. Item 7, adoption of council minutes. A motion that the regular council meeting minutes of June 15th, 2026 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor Schweinbens. Any discussion? And I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion passes. Right. Is there any business arising from the minutes? Okay. And we have no delegations or petitions tonight. We'll move on to item 10, correspondence. I have a mover and seconder to receive the.
So moved, Mayor Vidal.
Second.
Moved by Councillor Facio, seconded by Councillor Schweinbens. Any discussion on that? All the question, all in favor of receiving correspondence? Motion passes. Thank you. Any business arising from the correspondence? Councillor Facio.
Thank you, Mayor Vidal. It's page 19. That's the Agassiz Harrison Museum, but it's a census applying to the New Horizons for Seniors program. And they're requesting a letter of support. So I'd like to put a motion forward that we support the museum and their application to New Horizons.
Is there a seconder to that motion? Seconded by Councillor Jackson. Any discussion? I'm going to call the question then. All in favor? Motion passes. Anything further, Councillor Facio?
Not for me.
No. Okay. Does anyone else have any? Councillor Schweinbens.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Vidal. There was a letter from Oak Bay. I'm looking for the page. I'm sorry. Page 15. Thank you. And we might have voted on this a couple of months ago. I can't remember. I wanted to make sure. There's another local government in BC. I think we should support the resolution that they're bringing to the MLAs to continue the local government climate action program. Staff can correct me on that, but I think we are been a pretty good recipient of these funds for trucks and infrastructure projects. And I think we should support the district of Oak Bay in their efforts to sway the minds of some MLAs in the provincial government.
Are you considering a motion then to send a letter?
Yes, I would like to move that we support them and send them a letter of support.
All right. Is there a seconder? Councillor Facio, thank you. Any discussion on that? Then I'll call the question. All in favor? Anyone? That's it? Okay.
Yeah,
do you have any? All right. Thank you. All right. We'll move on to reports from Councilors, Councilor Jackson, would you like to go first?
Sure, thank you, Worship. First of all, I'd like to thank Councillor Ashiel so much for coming to the rescue of the parade this year. It was in doubt, and he came forward. I guess make him the 21st time he's been involved in this. So thank you so much, Leo, for putting together this wonderful parade that went on that day.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. I would like to again acknowledge that we had the judges here for Communities in Bloom. Our corporate clerk, Amanda, put on a wonderful display for us in Woods Park, so we had an opportunity to meet them, and you came and spoke, Your Worship, which was just wonderful. All the staff. I'd like to thank everybody involved in all of this organization that went on. It's been right down from everything that we have, the profile that was produced for us was professionally done. It was absolutely beautiful. And one of the things that does it makes our job as a counselor so much easier when you're dealing with such generous staff who put their time out there. Thank you all so much. And for Andy for taking the group for a tour of the lake. Amanda and I met with one of the judges on the following Saturday, and they were very impressed at what's happened here in Henderson. I take my hat off to all the staff and look forward to another time next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Schlangen?
Oh, sure. Thank you, Mayor Vital. I'm going to stray from my usual reports and just focus on one thing. But first, I did want to say and thank you also for the Canada Day parade help and organization that you provided. I had an opportunity to be a clown that day, and I figured it was apropos. Sometimes we're called clowns in this room, and I thought it was apropos to do that. So I had loads and loads of fun with a bunch of other clowns entertaining the crowd. But I wanted to focus on an incident that we had a couple weeks ago, and that was the big fire that we had at Springs RV. And this was one of the most challenging, largest fires that we've had in years. And I just wanted to make some comments about that and maybe some suggestions. That was very dangerous. It was a very hot day. Thankfully, it wasn't that windy. And if it was windy, I think it could have been a whole lot worse. But we had extraordinary cooperation and help from surrounding communities. First one is the Agassiz Fire Department. They're friends of ours, they're neighbors. In fact, their chief, Gerald, had to do the incident command. Our chief and deputy chief were out of town during this fire, unfortunately, and he took control of the incident, and we certainly appreciate it. They have many members out there and a couple of trucks as well. And so we're indebted to them, as well as the Popcom Fire Department. Volunteers and equipment came from there. The BC Ambulance Service was there throughout the evening because we had several incidents of heat stroke and I think maybe some minor injuries as well. So for them to be there was just fantastic. And even the BC Wildfire Service was there too. They had a couple people checking the mountain because this fire was adjacent to the mountain and some trees had caught on fire. All in all, if these folks weren't there to help us, this could have been much, much worse. It's shocking how combustible these trailers are. Cans of fuel were popping off, and it was a very, very dangerous fire. It could have been much worse if it wasn't for their help. And also our staff. I know that, right away, we all walked from this office down there, and I know Tyson got activated and activated staff. We had people here managing the water, the reservoir, and all the hydrants. Todd was here throughout the evening trying to manage whatever infrastructure things required. The road had to be closed, police had to be called, media had to be managed. All of you staff did a great job, and we really, really appreciate it. This was quite an incident. And lastly, but not least, is our own fire department. As I mentioned, it shows what kind of training and teamwork and professionals these people are. 22 of them trained every Tuesday diligently, and it really showed. Even without their chief and deputy chief on site, these folks went there and to the best of their abilities and controlled that fire And it could have been far worse, could have been much more property damage, even loss of life and injuries if it wasn't for them. So kudos to them and their teamwork. It was just a fantastic coordinated effort. So I'm proposing a motion that number one, that staff and council show some appreciation through the official channels, through a letter to all the agencies and outside neighborhoods that helped. And I'm not sure what the appropriate protocol is, but at least a letter and a phone call from our council and staff to those communities, I think would be very appropriate, very vital. So I'll move that, please.
Second that.
Seconded by Councillor Facio. Discussion on that? Councillor Schweinmans, I think also, just a slight amendment to your motion that we should also express our appreciation to our own fire department.
Yeah, that's coming up. Yeah, that's coming.
Oh, that's
Yes.
coming up.
Go ahead.
All right, on Councillor Schweinmans' motion, then I'll call the question. All in favor? The motion passes.
Thank you. The other one is, and you mentioned it, thank you, Mayor Vital. You know, again, these folks train every Tuesday. They're one of the most dedicated groups that we have in our community. This was one of the largest fires that we've had. I know that a lot of them were touched by it. There's injuries, there's heat stroke, and to see the kind of efforts that they had to drag hoses across acres of land and to save as much property as they could was just fantastic. So I'm not sure how this works, and I'm not sure what to propose, but I'd like to see this staff and council maybe work with the fire department, chief or deputy chief, to maybe have an appreciation event or a letter to them, just making sure that they officially know that this community has a great debt to them for the efforts that they had for that evening. I'm open to suggestions, but
Letter?
a letter, or maybe
Appreciation.
we do an evening that we can celebrate them. I'm not sure how it is, or maybe we invite them into the council chambers to express our gratitude officially to them. I'm open to ideas, but this was a once, and hopefully it'll never happen again, but it's a huge fire. We have to pay our respects to both all our staff and to the fire department for this. Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Vital. If I may suggest that a letter of appreciation to the fire department would be appropriate and lead staff to organize something in the future.
Yeah.
As maybe an event during the day or early in the evening to
Sure.
thank them for their service.
I'll move that,
All right,
if that's okay.
for a second.
Second.
Councillor Facio, any further discussion? I think one other option, Councillor Schweinmans, would be to have a letter drawn up for council to present it at one of their training nights when there are, more likely there would be more firefighters there. So, but I'll leave it up to staff to come up with. Okay, all right. Anything further?
Did we vote on it?
So we have a motion.
Oh,
That's it,
no.
yeah, sorry.
All right, we voted, didn't we?
No,
I'll call the question then, and all in favor? Thank you, the
Thank you.
motion passes.
And sorry, I'm not done yet. I just very quickly here, we have similar facilities in the community. And again, it was shocking to me to witness how fast a fire can move throughout some of these trailer parks. And I'm wondering if we need some considerations. Maybe it comes from the fire chief or deputy fire chief or fire inspector to maybe redouble their efforts around these situations. So I'm just thinking that maybe we should compel some of these larger trailer parks to have better fire prevention protocols in place, fire mitigation plans in place, an incident plan. Do they need hydrants or brigade of some sort, or some equipment on site so that future fires are either prevented or managed before they get out of control. I'll leave that, I think, maybe with the fire department. I'm not sure how this all works, but and maybe should I pose this question? I don't know if the fire chief is available, but again, looking for some ideas as to make sure that this is mitigated in the future.
I think maybe we should wait until we receive a final report from the fire inspector. And then perhaps we could move it up to staff if they note anything in that report, and leave it up to staff to be in contact with Chief Genest if they feel that anything should be looked at further. That would be my suggestion.
Staff okay with that?
Yeah, I appreciate that, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm sure insurance companies would be involved and very interested in making sure that this doesn't happen again, and that future fires are mitigated. And I think that's my report. Thank you, Mayor Bowles.
Thank you, Councillor Steinbeck. Councillor Pasio.
Thank you, Mayor Vidal. Just as around the subject of fires, and not a very pleasant one, but as we all know, there's a major two fires still out of control as of this morning at Boston Bar. And I would like a letter from this council to go to the electoral area director, Diane Johnson, who's the director for that area, just to let them know that they have our prayers and support of help if needed. And we have given the regional district through the CAO our support if needed. But so I think to let these folks know that although we're not helping them such a way to put out the fire, but we do think about them. Our prayers are with them, and it's they're going through a rough time up there. So I would like a letter of support to go from this council, showing our concern and hope that things will get better, and that we're there to help if needed.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Steinbeck. Discussion on that. Okay, I'll call the question then. All in favor? Motion passes.
And we go on here. Again, it was a very nice, pleasant get together at Woods Park with the Community in Bloom judges. I want to sincerely thank the chairperson, Councillor Jackson, and his very vibrant committee. Have done a wonderful job, and of course Amanda and her staff who put together the welcoming on Wednesday. The two gentlemen, Tom Meyer and Kerry Bicehouse, were very hospitable people. They had a lot of good ideas. I was speaking with them, and they were. I think we're going to come out of this one with probably a nice, a few stars, I hope. So that was, and the weather was good to them. So kudos to the committee and a good turnout by the judges. On the Canada Day, as both councillors have been very grateful in mentioning, it was a great day. We had a very good turnout. The weather was good to us, and I have to thank Tourism Harrison, our staff and the volunteers all came and helped. And the clown next to me, sorry, no disrespect,
It's okay.
who helped with Laurie Honey, helped me get the parade together, and on 5 o'clock the order was given, move on, and off we went. It was a great day from start to finish, from the pancake breakfast to the evening with the fireworks. I don't think you could find a spot on the beach for the fireworks. A wonderful way to celebrate Canada Day. On the 9th of July, in the morning, I attended the FBID by Zoom due to the ongoing fire at Boston Bar. The boardroom of the regional district is the EOC. So we had to do it by Zoom. One of the major discussions that came up was the aging incinerator in Burnaby. And we always have concerns in the Fraser Valley of that particulate matter that keeps floating this way. Even with the modern technology, they keep telling us that they have in these generators, but this is some 50 or 70 years old, I believe, that incinerator. But we had concerns that maybe they should be looking at a new one instead of renovating the old one because of the delicate air shed that we have here. The other one that came up was I attended a Zoom meeting with Minister Brittany Anderson, Minister of State, and Minister Josie Osborne, Minister of Health, on Tuesday the 23rd. And the three questions that they asked was, has your community implemented any recent initiatives for the recruitment, which we have? And when it comes to recruitment and retention of healthcare professionals in your community, what is the biggest barrier? Well, one is trying to get a doctor. Some of these other communities are going as, I believe, this mission, even advertising in Europe for doctors. So maybe we should be looking at that. And then from your perspective as local government leaders, what is one key insight you wish to recruitment teams in the health authority as well? Population available office, which we have. Less stress would be great for a doctor in this environment here. Wouldn't want to be in Harrison Hot Springs, but a wonderful location. The other one that also I've had several people come up to me and discuss it is that due to the fact that if you are not registered with the Agassiz Clinic, then unfortunately you cannot see the nurse practitioner in Harrison. Now, I taking into consideration that our residents who have doctors in other places, but they've had to, are also paying towards the leasing of the community center, that I would like a letter to go to Fraser Health to them look into this situation and get back to us why, if you are a patient in Mission or in Hope or Chilliwack, why can you not see the nurse practitioner or the other services at our Harrison Clinic? So that's a letter I would like to go to the Fraser Health in regards to getting some answers back on why there is that that problem. Because, you know, there's a lot of folks in the village who may not be due to maybe transportation, who cannot get to their doctor elsewhere, but they would like to see a nurse practitioner if it's not a major serious matter. And it's right here on our doorstep. And we are implementing more services, which is wonderful. It's only been going a year, and I have to thank our staff who've been involved in doing that. But anyway, I'd like to make a motion that we send a letter to Fraser Health and to Minister Osborne regarding the why we are not able, if you're registered in another jurisdiction, that we cannot see the local nurse practitioner in Harrison.
I'll second.
Thank you, seconded
Yeah.
by Councillor Jacquez. Any discussion on that motion?
I think it was.
Councillor
Sorry,
Jacquez.
Mayor, I think it'd be a good idea to get clarification on that.
Yeah.
They're here, and our residents can practically walk to the clinic in most cases, so there should not be any bureaucratic red tape barriers to the accessibility of our healthcare practitioners here. So I think a letter of clarification would be good.
Thank you.
Councillor Jackson.
Just an example, my doctor's an IGC registered, and I couldn't go to the clinic. So it was on a minor thing I wanted to look into, so I had an IGC. I don't know why, but didn't qualify, I guess.
All right, if nothing further, I'll call the question then. All in favor? Motion carries.
And the last one, your worship, is that on June the June 25th, at the Reesville District, they are going to be doing a traffic study from Mission to Agassiz, the volume of traffic. And I didn't know this, but it's interesting that our staff may want to look into this, that the RCMP have what they call a black cat box. This black cat box checks not only the speed, but also tells you the type of vehicles, whether it's a truck or a car or a van that's speeding. Like I know many years ago when we had a sensor at the front entrance, we had cars coming through the village at 2 in the morning, 170 clicks that was registered. So there might be something for staff to look into. They do it on a 7-day trials. Now, whether our RCMP has this box or not, but it is in other jurisdictions. And one other thing that came up with this came up from the Mission, town of Mission, regarding their local businesses, and how some are having a problem with the way things are going in the bigger cities, where their rents are going up considerably, and their business can't sustain it. So he brought that up as well in what's going on in Mission. Other than that, basically it was a traffic study, and I was interested in this black cat box. And if you haven't had an opportunity, if you can get it, this is for the residents as well, go to our tourism and pick up their quarterly report. It's a very interesting report, and all the updates, what's going on, how well they're involved with the digital metrics on websites, Facebook, top 5 pages, and Instagram, and the statistics in percentages for occupancy from 24 to 26. It's very, very slightly, but it has varied, with 26 being at the lower end this year. So that's there for people to pick up. Anyway, thank you that's my report for this evening, Mayor Vital. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Facio. We'll move on to reports from the mayor. June 18th, I attended Lower Mainland Local Government Association Executive Board meeting. As the incoming president, I am offered a seat at UBCM Executive Board. So I have been invited by UBCM to attend the July 17th Executive Board meeting, which is being held at the Fairmont Airport Hotel. June 23rd, I also attended the fire scene at 6-7 Hot Springs Road. I must say it brought me back to my previous career on fire scenes. I won't get into depth. I think Councillor Schweinbentz has captured the feelings of council as of now. But I also do want to personally thank our residents and our visitors who cooperated with all of the emergency personnel and avoided the area during the response so responders could do their work safely. And I also did provide media interviews with CBC and Global BC News. June 25th, I attended a tourism meet and greet, which was held at the Harrison Beach Hotel. Tourism has some new staff, and they wanted the opportunity to introduce their new staff to members of the public and council and to businesses. July 1st, I also attended our Canada Day celebrations, and as Councillor Facio and Councillor Jackson said, what a remarkable day. And I want to send my sincere thanks to the organizers and the volunteers who worked so hard together on the planning and the program. Well done. July 8th, I attended the Lettsmont C2C Forum. And as Councillor Facio indicated, the Fraser Valley Regional District EOC has been activated for the Boston Bar North End Forest Fire. And Area Director Bill Dickey did advise that there may be some delays in other operational issues at the regional district. So please keep this in mind and have some patience if you are needing to contact the regional district. Also at that meeting, Ministry of Transportation presented to the group the traffic management plan. For those that aren't aware of that should Highway 1 be closed down for any reason, the traffic management plan works on how they would work with diverting traffic and how to manage that additional traffic flow through Beauvais. It would certainly impact Harrison because you would probably see quite a bottleneck at the 7 to 9 intersections. So we all had some input into that, and Ministry of Transportation will take that back and make some adjustments as they see fit. Seabird Island is opening a new youth treatment center in Agassiz, and the official opening is tomorrow, I believe. Yeah. The Yamath Health Center now has a physician, and this center is offering both traditional and Western medical treatments. July 8th, I had the privilege of delivering remarks on behalf of council during the Communities in Bloom Judges Welcoming event at Woods Park. The following day, our judges, staff members, and committee members toured our village, highlighting the tremendous work of our Communities in Bloom committee. And Councillor Jackson, I have no doubt that the judges were impressed. July 11th, on behalf of council, I also welcome residents and visitors to the annual, to the opening of the annual Festival of the Arts. This event is always a highlight during the summer, and I would urge everyone to attend the numerous concerts. Many of them are free on the beach. There's workshops, and take the time to stroll along the beach on the upcoming weekend and visit the numerous artisans who are in tents along the beach. Now, July 9th, I attended the public information meeting regarding the Lettsmont Pool. This event was hosted by the District of Kent, and it was held here at the Harrison Lake Hotel. Having attended, I want to offer some comments and some observations on the evening. I attended the public information meeting put on by the District of Kent at the Harrison Lake Hotel regarding funding and user fees for the Letsamont Regional Recreation and Aquatic Center. I was disappointed to be hearing detailed financial information about the different user fees for Kent and non-Kent residents for the very first time at this meeting, despite the village's discussions with the District of Kent to look at forming a regional partnership to contribute to the capital and ongoing operating costs of the new pool. I know that many of our residents will use this new facility and already make use of the recreation center and the Fernie Coon pool. I am a firm believer in collaboration, strong partnerships with our neighbors, and working together to provide recreational opportunities that benefit our communities as a whole. In order for that to work, intergovernmental relations must be built on mutual respect and transparency. Unfortunately, I am disheartened by the route that the District of Kent has decided to take on this issue. As members of council, we are required to maintain confidentiality on this issue until we have decided that it's the appropriate time to release information to the public. But I felt the need to address this given this recent public information meeting. The District of Kent unilaterally decided to release information that was being kept in confidence without the courtesy of speaking with us first. And this unfortunately undermines the work done to date and the spirit of collaboration after which the new pool is named. I also feel that there has been either a misunderstanding or a mischaracterization of the village's role. At no time during my time on council am I aware of the village having committed to contributing financially to the capital and operating costs of the pool. We have provided letters of support for grant funding and directed staff to pursue a regional partnership. But that is the extent of our involvement with the pool at this time. We did not have input into the design, the construction costs, the tendering, or the procurement process, or any other aspect of the new pool. Out of respect for my fellow members of council and our obligation to uphold confidentiality, I will leave my remarks here for now. But I believe our residents deserve to know that the situation is more nuanced than what has been recently presented. Thank you. Great. Moving on. Reports and minutes from committees and commissions. Corporate officer, do you need these one at a time or can we do them all together? Okay, then could I have a mover and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councillor Facio, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Any discussion? And I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion passes. Move up to reports from staff. CAO Cook.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. We have a very full agenda tonight, so I won't go through this line by line. It's just a report, as we've been doing over the last number of years, quarters quarterly update, just showing that staff is continuing to deliver services to the community and meet targets set by council. So again, I want to thank staff and with the support of council and their continued efforts in making sure that the village is being run in a good way. So the recommendation in front of council is that Chief Administrator's Officer's report dated July 13th, 2026 regarding the 2026 second quarter update be received for information.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor Schweinmans. Any discussion on that recommendation? Councillor Facio.
Just a quick comment. First of all, to thank the Chief Administrative Officer for a very comprehensive report. If anyone in our community would like to see this, I would advise them to look at it, because it just proves how much work is being done in our community over the last few months. It's a very, very good report. The one question I would like to ask through you, Mayor Vital, to the CEO, due to the unfortunate fire in Harrison, did the SensorNet system kick in?
Through you, Your Worship, yes, it did trigger one camera that was on top of the fire hall. There were no, to my knowledge, there were no sensors like in the forest that picked up on any of the smoke. I could be wrong, but all I saw was a trigger from one of the cameras.
And also in your report, it states your reports from the fire department. Now, there were several calls due to the SensorNet. Were they calls there were no fires or any?
Yeah, they would have been labeled as false alarms because or triggers that would have been sent a notification to the fire department, and it appears from what I saw in the last quarter that the fire chief was the one that would attend to confirm that there was nothing, any emergency.
Because this strikes me as another problem for the fire department. We've had obviously false alarms many times during the course of the year from certain business, whatever. But this to me is the fire department, I believe, was several times they had to go out on these false alarms, and this is costing the village money from both ends, both for paying for the SensorNet and also for the call out for the fire departments. I know they have to go because the alarm's gone up. I don't say that they shouldn't go, but to me, if is this something that Sensor has to take care of, or Rogers has to look at this?
I believe that.
If I could, I've been advised that our fire chief is on Zoom and has his hand up. If there's a question for that, the fire chief would answer.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Excuse me, we're having trouble hearing back here. Would you mind speaking up a little bit? The air conditioner behind us is causing noise. It's a little problem. Thank you.
It is quiet.
Curtis, you're muted, but we can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
No.
No,
The
it's Curtis
fire
coming
chief,
through.
yes.
He's unmuted, he's just not coming through right.
This is connected.
Yeah, speaker. Yeah, it's the speaker above there. You can come through.
All right, maybe we'll move on, and if we
Yeah, move on,
get the
yeah.
connection,
Thank you.
then we could offer Chief Janess to his comments later on in the agenda.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to call the question then.
Yeah, sorry if I could. Yeah, I'd like to add. Are you?
I'm finished, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to congratulate. Thank you, Mayor Vital. I just wanted to congratulate staff and Tyson for assembling this. But I wanted to focus on on one thing or two things here. The Lillooet West streetscape, and it's. I know it's not completely completed, but I've heard from people who use the sidewalk, people who have businesses along the sidewalk. They're just so pleased with the changes, the curbing, the gardens. It just looks so much better. It's much cleaner and more accessible and easier to walk around, and such an inviting place. So thank you to staff and to the groups that solved that. In fact, and staff were so quick. I had a question from someone in the public about a accessible parking lot, and the next day it was done. I think it was just coincidence, of course, but it's just fantastic to see the parking and how it looks there. So I'm really grateful about that. But I wanted to focus on the outside staff that cut the grass, fix the gardens, water the plants, make sure the toilets flush, the electricity's on, and the garbage is collected. We have, the places never look so good. And we should be very proud of our outside staff. I don't think they get enough credit for what they do. They're working in the heat and in the rain and in the sleet and snow, but they make our place look fantastic. They do all the hard work, the manual labor, and all the heavy lifting that is required to keep our village working. And I'm just very, very grateful. Our residents should be grateful for that. And I appreciate it, right up from the summer students and the interns, all the way up to our outside managers. Thank you to them. I don't know how to pass on it. Whenever I meet them and see them on the street, I make sure I take my time to thank them. That goes along with the new bylaw officers. They're doing a fantastic job. I had an opportunity today to tour the wastewater treatment plant and the water treatment plant, and they are fantastic, state-of-the-art facilities. I know that some people around this table were involved in getting those built, but the way that the staff are managing these and updating these all the time, they're expensive pieces of equipment, but residents here should be rest assured that we have state-of-the-art equipment, and we have a great group of engineers and staff that know how to manipulate it so that we get great value. And if any, I would love to see residents be invited to these tours, because it is a sight to behold that the way that they manage our water and wastewater treatment. So I don't know if that's possible to do a tour or a video of these things, but it really is state of the art. Great to see. So anyways, I just wanted to pass on thanks. I always pass on thanks to the office staff, but to the outside staff, if you're listening, thank you. We're grateful, and you're making our place look fantastic. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. COL Cook, regarding the Little West landscape, is it completed now?
There are still some deliverables. There's a bench that will be coming on I believe we're looking at towards the end of August, potentially the beginning of September, and then there's some additional artwork that'll be on the sidewalk as well. That'll be coming around at the same time.
Okay.
But other than that, as far as I know, I think everything else we've turned that back alley into a very, very attractive streetscape.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion? Is a fire?
Yeah,
Okay, all right, yeah.
yeah. Okay, we'll try it.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Chief Janess.
Perfect. Sorry, I'm on my way home from work. First off, I'd like to thank everyone there for the kind words about the fire department and our mutual aid partners that showed up to that trailer park fire that could have gone sideways if we didn't have the manpower and the help right away. So thank you to council and staff for all the great work you guys put in for that night. As for Councillor Facio's question regarding the SenseNet, I unfortunately wasn't there. Hard to believe I had an 18-year-old daughter who was graduating that night, so I was at her graduation. And of course, my phone blew up with phone calls and the SenseNet system. So we first got the page out, and within 2 minutes, the SenseNet camera went off and advised me of smoke in the area. So of course, I reviewed it, looked at it, and noticed big plume of smoke over that area. So it was right away onto a phone call with one of my lieutenants who was the on-scene IC at the time, basically kind of helping him out. But the SenseNet system, it is actually working a lot better than it was when we first started. The trigger points on it aren't as bad as they were before. It's obviously starting to correct itself and only come out when it's actually needed. A lot of it is the Sandy Cove area. As we can tell, there's always people having small little bonfires on the beach, which we tend to get a lot of calls there. But other than that, the sensors themselves, they don't go off. It's the cameras that will pick up. If a sensor is picking something up and the cameras will send the alert. I don't believe there are actually that many sensors behind the RV springs. I think we kind of placed them more towards heavier trafficked areas, such as the Campbell Lake Trail, moving south or not south, north towards the resort, and that where people can kind of occupy the trails more. So for Councillor Facio's question with this, does the SenseNet system actually do what it's supposed to, and is it benefiting the fire department? In my mind, it is actually benefiting us tremendously in making things a lot easier for us to pick up on and actually move. I am the one that looks at it, and if I deem it necessary to send members out to it, I will. If I don't, I monitor the system for an hour, 2 hours, and if it changes, then it's nothing. No need for a full crew to be sent out and resources being deployed and money coming out. So unless, of course, it's something that has to happen. So the SenseNet system is doing its job, and I think it's a great asset to the fire department and to the village.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief Jeanette. I know, and perhaps you can answer this question, is that I believe that SenseNet or Rogers came out and did some readjustment of the sensors at some point. And do they come out and examine it and make the adjustments as necessary on a regular basis?
Yeah, I believe we have a certain timeline within each fiscal year to have them come and check cameras out. I don't know if Jace is there. He would have probably a better understanding of that because he's the other contact other than Tyson and myself. But I don't recall the last. I think they were out maybe a month or two ago. I don't know if Jace can answer that one, but I know they came out and reconfigured some of the sensors and added a couple more and looked at a couple of different spots for maybe another camera or two.
All right.
I can confirm that they were here last week.
Last month?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Chief Janest. Appreciate your input.
Right.
All right. I think we were at calling the question on the annual report. So any further discussion then on the annual report?
We're accepting it for information, Mayor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll call the question then. All in favor? Motion passes. Item B, report from our corporate officer. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I have a report regarding a generative AI and information technology policies. As part of the 2025 audit process, it was identified that the village should adopt a policy to formalize processes that are already in place relating to data security, password protocols, and acceptable system use. Staff have also identified the need for a policy that addresses generative AI tools. Generative AI tools have become widely used in the public, but also in the workplace. While staff recognize that Gen AI can be a useful productivity tool, its use can introduce new risks and challenges with respect to protection of privacy, information security, and the accuracy of the final product generated. While Gen AI may not be legislated in Canada or by the province currently, the village still needs to make sure it meets its obligations to protect privacy and safeguard data. So staff have drafted an attached policy which addresses both IT protocols identified during the audit and appropriate use of Gen AI. One thing I want to note is the difference between Microsoft Copilot, which is already integrated into the village's Microsoft software. Data from Copilot, as opposed to something like ChatGPT, stays within the village's network and is not used to train future AI models. Publicly available Gen AI tools don't work the same way. Once information is entered into those tools, the village loses control over where that information goes and what it's used for. So the policy seeks to address that, as well as some of the other standard data security measures that we take every day. And the policy as written applies to anyone who is an authorized user of our network and our IT resources. There are no immediate financial considerations associated with the report, but as technology continues to evolve, so must the village's policies and practices and training processes. And so the recommendation is that generative AI and information and technology policy 1.44 be approved.
So move, Mayor Vidal.
Moved by Councillor Fazio, second by Councillor Schweinbenz. Discussion. Councillor Schweinbenz.
Thank you, Mayor Vidal. I'm curious, Amanda, have we encountered any problems, or do you foresee any problems with regards to AI? We're always concerned about where this IA generation is going to go, and I don't know. It's certainly can make us a whole lot more efficient, but I don't want to lose the human touch and make sure that decisions are really based on humans and with the best information that we have, because people to people is the best in my opinion. So, anyways, have you encountered any problems or foreseen problems? So, thank you.
Through you to Councillor Schweinbenz. Great question. We haven't. We are very lucky to have staff here who are very tech savvy. When it's one of those situations where the technology is advancing faster than the legislation again, so we don't have a framework to work within. We're kind of doing the best we can right now until we get some legislation from the federal or provincial government. So we haven't experienced any issues. Right away, when ChatGPT kind of became a big thing, we put out a directive to all our authorized users: please don't put personal information into publicly available generative AI tools, because we don't know where that information goes. So we haven't had any issues, but we have been very cautious as well. And you're totally right. One of the clauses in the generative AI portion of the policy speaks to the intent is for it to supplement and support employee productivity. It's not intended to replace decision-making. You have to be very, very careful using it for things like legal advice or hiring practices, procurement, those types of things, so as not to lose kind of that human touch that AI just doesn't meet it, right? So it is a bit of a balance. I think realistically, Gen AI is here already, every day, everywhere. You see it on social media, you see it in the news, you see it everywhere. And I think it can be a very useful tool, but it also is new and emerging, and we have to be cautious.
May I follow up? Thank you, Mayor Vidal. When it comes to privacy of records, we've heard of these horror stories where a doctor's office's medical records are somehow taken, and even big corporations. Anyways, it gets out there. So are you comfortable that we have security in place to manage the privacy of our residents in the village? We do. Okay, I see Tyler nodding. That's good. Yeah. I got an email the other day that looked very, very legitimate about I had to renew my security program for Microsoft, for the Office computer that I've been provided. And I was actually going to push the button, but I thought maybe I should check with Tyler. So I did that, and he said, no, it's actually not legitimate, so just ignore it. So anyways, we all have to be very careful. No, I'm in support of this. We have to work with the technology, or work with the future, I suppose, on this one.
Can't do nothing without checking with Tyler.
Yeah. We all do.
I know, I keep getting the one that your UPS delivery has been rerouted.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Schweinbenz. Does anyone have anything further? No? All right, I'm gonna offer a couple of comments then. As it's been stated, AI is certainly becoming increasingly common in workplaces and at home. And it certainly does present some opportunities, but also we need to be cognizant of a level of responsibility with it. It's imperative that the village maintain high standards of accuracy, privacy, and security. And this policy shows that AI can improve efficiencies, but it also explains that AI is only a tool and not a replacement for human judgment, staff expertise, or council decision-making. I also appreciate that the policy states protection of confidential information. It's important that use of AI complies with the current privacy legislation. And as I see, this policy will probably be needing to be revised on a regular basis. And I just want to make one note regarding ChatGPT, is that Nikki Sharma, the Attorney General of BC, has now issued and started a lawsuit against ChatGPT for the horrific events that occurred up in Tumbler Ridge. So it will be interesting to see the outcome of that. Oh. All right, anything further then? Call the question then. All in favor of the recommendation? It passes. Thank you. Moving on to item C, and again, corporate officer, civic recognition, and commemorative naming policy.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Vital. So at the April 2026 regular council meeting, council requested that staff draft a civic recognition policy that outlines eligibility criteria, a nomination process, selection method, and a process by which public spaces may be named after an individual. Staff have reviewed the legislation and similar policies from other local governments and have drafted the attached civic recognition and commemorative naming policy for council's consideration. The policy as drafted is twofold. So first, it provides for an annual civic recognition award, which would be open for nominations in January. The nominations would be reviewed by a committee who would then make a confidential recommendation to council by March of each year. The award is broad and intended to recognize exemplary service across several different categories that benefit the community in different ways. The policy also sets out a process for commemorative naming, which is the process of naming a village asset in honor of an individual. And again, the policy defines village asset very broadly and allows for council to name an asset after someone when there's a clear connection between that individual and the asset itself. In other cases, council may wish to open up naming nominations up to the community. Eligibility requirements are set out in section 4 with some restrictions surrounding eligibility for council, staff, or members of the committee. I've also drafted up a terms of reference provided to give council an idea of what the committee's purpose and responsibilities might look like. There are no legislative requirements beyond council's ability to confer freedom of municipality upon an individual, which really allows council to kind of tailor this policy in any way that they see fit. It is common for a committee to be struck to review the nominations, but it's not required. So given the timing of this report nearing a general local election and the fact that committee terms run the length of the council term, council may choose to postpone a decision on this policy until after the next general local election. Either way, staff don't recommend putting a call out at this moment. There are no immediate financial considerations associated with the report. However, if adopted, there will be staff time for implementing the nomination process and of course supporting the committee for that kind of short period of time there. So there are two recommendations. I think I might provide them separately if you like.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the first one is that civic recognition and commemorative naming policy 1.45 and the civic recognition committee terms of reference be approved.
All right. Moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor Schweinmans. Any discussion on that recommendation?
Okay.
Well, thank you, Mayor Vital. I think it's a great idea. This village has so many individuals that over decades have provided a positive impact and benefits to our community, whether it's through the arts or helping with the environment or whatever the case may be, and they don't seek any financial benefit or political benefit but I think it'd be great to have a tool to recognize these people who have given lasting contributions to our village, and there are so many for sure. So I'm very supportive of this. I'm hoping that we can approve this tonight and that the new council will strike a committee after the election. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fazio?
It's just another indication when some folks are concerned about closed meetings where due to personal information, when you have a committee set up like this, you have to have it in camera because the personal information would come forward from the individual whoever would be applying for this. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then, Councillor Fazio, I think that applies to all of our
Committees,
committees
yeah,
when, you know, we put out a call out
Yes.
for people to join the committee that
But it's been recognised in this process.
in this process, yes. Okay, on the first recommendation then, if there's nothing further, I'll call the question. All in favor? That one passes. Corporate Officer, the second.
The second recommendation is that staff be directed to bring the policy forward to the incoming council after the 2026 general local election as part of the review of all committees.
Move, Mayor Byler.
Second.
Moved by Councillor Fazio, second by Councillor Schweinbetz. Any discussion on that? I think that that's appropriate.
Oh,
So, I'll call the question then. All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, item D. Corporate Officer, you're up again.
Thank you. Yes, I have a report regarding an agenda management platform. So in April of this year, council adopted the IDEA framework and action plan and requested a progress report within 90 days, which will be on the agenda later on. The first path of the action plan is clear information. One of the strategic objectives is to strengthen access to information so the public can understand village processes, services, and decisions more easily. One example action included in the plan is to improve accessibility to agendas, minutes, notices, and reports. Currently, staff prepare and publish agendas and minutes manually using existing software. While this has been very effective, it also requires significant staff time. In recent years, many local governments have implemented specialized governance management platforms to streamline administrative processes and increase public accessibility to documents. In this report, I've included some statistics regarding council and committee meetings over the last several years. I do want to note that 2021 was exceptionally low due to COVID. So meetings had tapered off and committees were not meeting. However, the number of meetings and resolutions even prior to 2020 was much lower compared to 2022 to 2025. So these increases are positive indicators of a very active council, engaged committees who are meeting regularly and support the need for a platform that modernizes agenda processes. Staff have reviewed available agenda management platforms commonly used by other local governments in BC and are recommending that council consider implementing Diligent Community. Diligent Community is widely used as a centralized system for agenda preparation. You might be familiar with its predecessor. It's called iCompass, formerly. It's a centralized system for agenda preparation, report submission, workflow and approvals, minute taking, and then public publishing as well. So I'd like to just take a quick moment, if I could, to share my screen to give you an idea of the features that I've listed in the report here on an external web-based platform that can be accessed from the village's current website. Provides a very user-friendly, easily searchable document library. Just show you one example. So let's share my screen here. All right, signs of technical difficulties. Oh, permission required. Okay. Is it working now?
Try resharing it.
Okay. Sorry, just bear with me. I'll try one more time here.
We practiced this, I
I
swear.
did practice this. Of course. Oh, here, perfect, okay. So we'll start here, I'll share this one. Here we go.
Hey.
So this is an example of the District of Highlands website. This is separate from their regular website. This is where it's got, here we go. Can you see it? Isn't it showing when I moved?
Where'd you move?
Oh, here. There we go. Okay. So this is the portal that you would go to when you click on, click here for agendas, minutes, documents, that type of thing. So this has the home screen, and then it has a calendar here for all of the meetings. And each meeting, you can click on it, and it'll take you to the agenda like this. And you can click on reports right within the agenda. So it's an HTML version of the agenda, and it will bring up, it's opened it in a separate tab, which I'm not sharing at this moment, but it'll open it in another tab. So it's a clickable agenda. You can split screen, so you can click on links like this way here. So if you want to open one agenda item here, it'll bring it up over here. It also has a document library. So you can easily search minutes, agendas from committees and commissions. Sorry, let me show you. So this is an example of the document library. It also has a subscription service, so the members of the public can apply to subscribe to be notified of meetings that are of interest to them whenever they get posted. So for example, this is one document library, the District of Highlands. They have bylaws, all the committee and agendas. It's very easily searchable in basically a file tree, like how you would maintain your records. So it's a lot more easily searchable and user-friendly. This here, the text recognition is much better than how we have it right now on our website, just using regular PDFs. It's all readable, scannable text, so you can search by keyword. And we can use this not just for agendas and minutes, but also bylaws, plans, reports, strategies, anything that you want to make it easier to have documents all in one place. So that's an example of the sort of public-facing portal that we're proposing to go with for a diligent community. From a staff perspective, it modernizes the agenda preparation process. So it's specifically designed for local government environments or boards. I believe the school district even uses it as well. Includes several features that can increase efficiency and also reduce the likelihood of human error. So it just automates certain things. It'll populate your minutes based off of your agenda, that sort of thing. So the fee is anticipated to be between $6,000 and $8,000 for the first year, plus an annual increase of 5%. As this was not included in the 2026 financial plan, it would require the use of surplus funds if it were to be implemented this year. Currently, staff do spend several hours creating each regular agenda. We have templates for each committee. It's not as intuitive. If there are any errors, incorrect attachments, corrupt files, last minute changes, sometimes the process has to start again. I'm sure our corporate clerk can attest to some broken documents that cause some issues for us, and we have to recompile it, and it can take quite some time. So it's anticipated that the efficiencies gained in staff time will offset the costs of the software and allow staff to spend time on other operational priorities. In accordance with the village's purchasing and procurement policy, the village may direct award up to $10,000. Staff have reviewed other products. They were a little bit more expensive. One that you might be familiar with is eScribe. It's commonly used as well. It does seem that Diligent Community is better suited for smaller local governments, so that's what we're recommending. And so the recommendation is that staff be authorized to proceed with the implementation of the Diligent Community Governance Platform at a cost of up to $8,000 to be funded through surplus in 2026 and through the budget process annually thereafter.
So
Can I have a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Schweinben, seconded by Councillor Jackson. And discussion, please. Councillor Fazio.
That's through you. Mayor Vidal to our corporate officer. Great idea. I mean, obviously it's going to save a lot of staff time, which is very important in doing this. But as we know, through other avenues that come to us, there are those in the community who are don't even have a computer or a cell phone, whatever. I know you have a subscription service here, but that's for email. So if you don't have a computer, you can't get the email. Is there some way that you eventually will try and work something in where those folks who are not into the social media sort of thing, to let them know what, if they wish to find out a specific item from a specific meeting?
Through you to Councillor Fazio, that it is very challenging to reach those folks who are not on email. Unfortunately, it's the world we live in today. It's just a very useful tool for us for communicating to the public, email and social media. This is not intended to replace the notice boards by any means as well. So just to be clear on that, actually we have a policy coming up on the bulletin boards, but it's policy night. That is going to be the key way for people who are not using email or on Get Into It to view the agenda. Will still be the traditional way of posting it on the notice boards, but it is very hard to have a subscription service if there's no email, right?
Thank you.
Councillor Schweinben.
thank you, Mayor Vidal, through you to the corporate officer. So subscription service, I'm thinking it's going to cost me, but it's free, I assume. Okay, I knew that was. I just wanted to check. And is this going to make it easier for the public to find, search the documents? I had an incident today and I'm on the inside and I couldn't find something I was looking for. You found it in I think 13 seconds, but I took 15 minutes and I couldn't find it. So will this be an easier interface for people who have a computer to look for things? Sorry, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, through you to Councillor Schweinben. Yeah, actually part of my goal as well is digitizing old files too, and getting old agenda packages up, like archival agenda packages up on this as well, for the public to review. So yeah, it will be much easier to find what you're looking for. The way it's set up is, you approve the minutes, they go to that meeting. It's all laid out in a very user friendly, and like you mentioned, the text is searchable as well. So the goal of it is to provide better access to the public to documents.
And Mayor, if I could, one more question. Will it be difficult to transition from one system to the new one? Is that a big burden for you guys or for the village to do that?
Thank you, through you to Councillor Schweinben. I think it's quite user friendly. We had a demonstration on it. It's very intuitive. It's not overly complicated. It's quite simple, but what we're doing right now, I think, is probably more complicated than this process, because we've had to kind of across several different software tools come up with a way to manage outstanding tasks, report approvals, follow-up actions that need to be taken, approval of agendas, that sort of thing. So it's kind of combining several different processes that we're doing across several different pieces of software into one location. Having said that, there will be some onboarding and training that will need to happen with all managers who submit reports, and with council elected officials as well. There's an opportunity for us to provide side notes for your agendas if, for example, you're chairing it and it, just reminders about this agenda item or things like that. So there will be a bit of a learning curve. Yeah.
Thank you.
Corporate officer, just for some clarification then, that council and our residents would be able to have access to this? And the reason I ask is, again, issues of confidentiality. I would assume that then that if there was something of a confidential nature, it wouldn't be put on that platform. Is that correct?
Thank you. Yes, that's correct. So we have control over what goes on the platform and what does not. There is an in-camera component as well internally for the software. So if you do have to compile a confidential agenda, it doesn't get put into the forward-facing external portal. And again, when the agenda gets posted, published, every member of council would receive a notification that they have the agendas ready now, instead of manually emailing everyone, which is what our current process is. But yes, there are confidentiality protections in place.
And I would assume that, should this motion pass, that any resident who needed a little bit help with it could just reach out to staff to, to say, I want to subscribe to this. I don't know how to do it or whatever. Okay, good. Thank you. Anything further then? And I'll call the question on the recommendation. All in favor? Passes. Thank you. All right, Chief Financial Officer, I think it's over to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm here for this report to provide an update on council remuneration research that we've been doing. In 2025, staff were instructed to conduct some research comparing council remuneration with similar sized municipalities. The timing was actually worked out quite well, so we ended up doing it this year, and it's quite a common practice to do remuneration research, and any adjustments would happen on the last year of the current term, and it would be in effect for the new council, basically. So staff reached out to several municipalities to get some remuneration information. We did hear back from 15, so that was quite good. The information is a little bit, some of it's from 2024, some of it's from 2025. So take it with a bit of a grain of salt, but we did get some pretty good information. The populations in the sampling municipalities ranged from just over 1,000 to just under 7,000. So attached to this report is kind of the full spreadsheet of what we came up with through that. At this another meeting, council instructed staff to do some research regarding an honorarium for the deputy mayor as well. This was a little bit more difficult because many municipalities do things many different ways with this, but we kind of were able to group it in three different processes. Some do no additional pay for deputy mayor services. Some do an annual stipend, and that's basically a flat rate, and that will cover any deputy mayor duties throughout that year. And then some will also do a deputy mayor allowance, which will be for the time that a deputy mayor duties are being performed. It was very common, however, to see that a lot of municipalities have in their policy that if a councillor must act as mayor for an extended period of time, which is usually 30 days or more, then that councillor would receive the mayor's remuneration for that period. Finally, something we noted was with technology, many municipalities are moving to providing a device at the start of a council term, so a laptop or a iPad. And the reason for that is it keeps the high security standards of the village within their own devices. It safeguards information, and as well it assists with meeting the privacy protection obligations as well. So at this time, with that information, staff is seeking council's direction on any potential changes to remuneration, technology allowances, or anything else that would appear in the policy. And following that direction, staff would amend the council remuneration policy and bring it back for further consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Then The recommendation is that the Chief Financial Officer's report dated July 13th, 2026 regarding council remuneration review update be received for information. Moved by Councillor Schweinman, seconded by Councillor Jackson. So discussion, please. Councillor
Well,
Schweinman.
thank you, Mayor Vital. I just, a couple of comments. I brought this up last year because I have some friends who were in Ontario and who are in politics. And in Ontario, there's a policy where the politicians, the council, are granted, like they can put their earnings into their pension through the OMERS program. I think it's called Ontario Municipal Workers Program. So I'm wondering, like, there's a lot of people who put many, many years in council, and there's no allocation towards pension and that sort of thing. So that's one change I'd like to take a look at. It has nothing to do with our village. I think that has to be done at the provincial level. But I think that would be a nice change. I think we're kind of in the sweet spot of where we should be for like-minded, like-sized villages. I like that, we talked about technology tonight. I was given a stipend to buy a new computer. I kind of had to because I had to conform with our security protocols around here. And I think I'm given a little stipend per month for a phone. It's not much, $50 I think per month. And otherwise, I think our salaries are right in line with where we should be for our village. So I can't think of any changes that we need to make at this time.
I know that UBCM has been working diligently with the province to look at providing more benefits to elected officials. And one of the ones that they have accomplished through advocacy is allowing elected officials to participate in the Blue Cross extended health benefits. So I have no doubt that you will continue to see UBCM advocate for continued benefits for elected officials.
Yeah, I thank you, Mayor Talon, or Mayor Vital. And my own personal thing, I'm retired. I don't have health insurance, so it was, I didn't know about it, but it was a bit of a perk to be able to opt into the Blue Cross program. So I have appreciated it, and I understand that now it covers mental health issues and that sort of thing. And in this job, sometimes it's required. We can't all be clowns on Canada Day. Sometimes we need some help. So having that perk is kind of nice. But I think from a salary point of view, remuneration point of view, I think we're in the sweet spot.
Councillor Facio, do you have?
No, I'm
No.
fine with that. The only thing at some other point, maybe when another council comes on board, and may go back to the honorarium for the deputy mayor at that point. Other than that, it's fine the way it is. Yeah.
All right. Councillor Jackson, did you?
No,
I agree with Councillor Schweinbenz that I'm satisfied with the current level of our remuneration based upon the comparisons that our financial officer has provided. But I really do support the idea for the village to provide electronic devices for council members. And as was stated, we as council members regularly receive confidential reports. We receive legal advice and sensitive information that must be handled in a secure method. Village-owned devices help to protect the privacy and security. It reduces the risk of information being mixed with your own personal devices. So I think the village would have better control over that security. future council member, for whatever reason, they say, well, I use this as virus protection, but that may not be acceptable or at the level that would be expected of village documents and emails and whatever. So, and, reliance on electronic communication it's just continuing to grow. And I think by providing electronic devices to council members, it benefits everyone by assurance and safeguarding that information. So corporate officer, I know that our CFO was asking for some direction if any changes would be made. So I'd like to put forth a motion that it be updated to reflect that the village will provide electronic devices to council members beginning at the next term. Does that suffice?
Thank you. There's just the motion on the floor. Maybe call the question on that one first, and then we can vote on that one. Certainly, I think it will assist us with the data safeguarding and protection of privacy and confidential information. We can certainly draft some updates and bring them forward to be applicable for the incoming.
All right, so you would like the recommendation voted on first?
Yeah.
And then I can introduce the motion.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, nothing further discussion on the recommendation then. I'll call the question. All in favor? The motion passes. And I will now introduce the motion to have village supply council members with electronic device at the start of each term. Does that suffice? Okay. Is there a seconder to that motion? Seconded by Councillor Jackson. Discussion.
Mayor Vital, I think is this additive to, like, we already get a stipend per year. Remind me if I'm incorrect. I think it's $1,000 per year for tech to update our computers. So is this additive to what we already receive?
I'm going to put it to CFO. How I vision it is that it would replace that stipend or access to that $1,000 that we currently get. Am I correct?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. It would be at council's wish, but for sure the research that we did was not both. It was a device was provided at the start of a council term, and then there would be no technology allowance.
Okay. Would that also relate to the amount that we get reimbursed for use of our personal cell phones, or would that still apply?
That would still apply.
That would still apply. Does that answer your?
Yeah, it does. And I think the way that it works now gives us a bit more flexibility. We have our computers, and some of us, I know I do a lot of my reading on an iPad as well. So it's useful to have the stipend program, the current program. So I think it provides us more flexibility, and technology is always changing. Some of us might need hearing devices to do our job. So I honestly, I kind of like the way it is now with the stipend, the annual stipend given to the councillor, and they could spend it as they need instead of just getting a device given to them by the village. I think it gives us more flexibility individually.
Councillor Facio.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I think we've leave the recommendation as is, and at a later date, say after the election, this can come back again to be reviewed. If that's the case, leave the policy as we have at the moment, which allows for an electrical device And then if, what you're suggesting could be reviewed at a later date. I don't think it's urgent at this very moment. It's there for us.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. What I might recommend is that I think what we're looking for is direction from council, and we're hearing there's two ideas here. One to stay with the $1,000 per year, and one to provide a device at the beginning of the year that could pose part of our report back to council. But what I would recommend is that we either aim for an April or a September meeting to have it in place prior to the next council. So I'm hoping that is that what we're looking for that? Just to confirm.
Sure. It's at council's wish. If you want to direct staff to provide, draft a policy or provide some options, there could be a balance struck as well. So we've talked about this at the staff level as well. Perhaps the device that we would be providing as the village, maybe you want something with more storage, or for an iPad, for example, or you want a higher model of an iPad. Then you get reimbursed to the degree that we would have paid for the device itself, and then that gives you the ability to get the device that you want to have. There's also perhaps a balance that could be struck where you get your village issued device, and then on top of that there's a technology stipend for other pieces of technology. It might be a little bit less than the $1,000 as you have a village device already, but for example, if you need to get a mouse or headphones because you're taking a meeting or things like that. So there's some flexibility, I think, in that, but I definitely think that council, if they want to provide that direction, then yeah, August, September, prior to the new council, so we know what the plan is for the incoming council.
All right. I think we do have some time.
Motion, so carrying on with your motion, Your Worship,
Yes.
with the flexibility to come back.
Well, I think I put a motion
Yeah.
forward. So we'll need to vote on that motion. Can you read that motion out, please?
So that staff be directed to draft updates to council remuneration and expense policy 1.16 to indicate that the village will provide electronic devices to council members at the start of each council term.
Right. Is there any further discussion on that motion? All right, then I'll call the vote on that. All in favor? That motion passes. Were you interested, Councillor Fassio?
No, that's it.
in introducing?
No, that's it.
Okay,
That's
all
it.
right.
Just note that I was opposed.
All right, CFO, I believe you're also next on the item F.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a brief report, but it's a very, very good news report. Members of our fire department had applied for what's called a Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation of Canada grant, and we're very happy to say that we received a grant of just short of $45,000. And what that is going to do is allow them to purchase a home natural battery powered vehicle extraction kit, which is kind of a jaws of life, but it's a very good one. And it's a hydraulic one. It's something we don't have. So they're super excited about it. It won't cost the village a penny. So what we're looking for council approval of, because it's not in the budget, we need council to approve that we can actually spend these funds. So the recommendation is that council approves the expenditure of up to $45,000 in capital equipment for the fire department to be funded by the approved Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation grant.
So moved.
Moved by
Seconded.
Councillor Fassio, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Any discussion on that?
Well, thank you, Mayor Vital. Just wanted to thank the members of the fire department who applied for this. They took the initiative to apply for this. I think it was Sam and Rob that wrote the grant. And I think it's fantastic that Firehouse Subs has provided these funds. The equipment it's amazing technology. It's battery operated technology. They're heavy as you wouldn't believe, and they're going to be able to extract people from cars up. Hopefully, this will never be required. extract people, victims from cars, service roads in Rockwell and in the community, and help out Agassiz in a more full service way as well. So it's a no-brainer for us. I'm hoping that there can be a public announcement that involves the donator as well. Maybe there could be a press release, and I think it's fantastic news for the fire department, for the village.
Thank you. Anything further? No, then I'll call the question. All in favor? And that motion passes. Community Services Manager. Normally.
Thank you, Mayor Milo. This will be somewhat straightforward as well. I just wanted to bring forward an updated community bulletin board policy for council's review, which would amend the previous named bulletin board policy, which is policy number 1.06, which was last updated in August of 2010. So over the past few years, there have been more requests by the community for open access bulletin boards that can be used to advertise and promote community events and notices without the need for village approval and access to those boards. The village installed one of these on the reverse side of a wayfinding sign at the beach, and we will have a portion of a new community bulletin board on Lillooet Avenue West, which will be installed hopefully this week, which will also be available for this purpose. So attached to this report, I've got what the previous bulletin board policy was, as well as a draft of a renamed version of a community bulletin board policy. So the newly drafted community bulletin board policy includes the addition of definitions for clarification on use and the difference between a community board and the village's official public notice posting place. There are no financial considerations associated with this report. The new community bulletin board was purchased with RMI grant funding through the interpretive signage project category. And I think the main thing just to highlight again in this new one is that the community bulletin boards and the village bulletin boards themselves are different, but could be the same as where some of the public notice posting places are. So that's just something to note in the language here, and that these community bulletin boards are not intended to replace those public notice posting places as required in our council procedure bylaw. So the recommendation before council is that council rename policy number 1.06 to community bulletin board policy and approve the proposed amendments to policy number 1.06 as presented.
Thank you.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor Schweinitz. Discussion, please. I just, one question is that distinction between community bulletin boards and other bulletin boards. Sometimes they're one and the same, are they not? But there are designated places where we are required to post like agendas or notices of special meetings.
Thank you, Mayor Milo. Yes, so the official public notice posting places as indicated in our council procedure bylaw are here at the village office, outside the post office, and at Memorial Hall. So those places, some of them have another portion of a board, like the back side of the one here, for example, that is for community notices. The new board that we are installing is going to be quite large. It has 6 nice big sides. So there will be some other village information on there. We're intending to post a calendar of the council meetings, for example, but it won't be we won't be putting like the full agenda packages in there at this time. Those will still just be posted at those official public notice posting places, but it'll be just another good resource for information on Alertable and the curbside waste collection schedule and tourism events, as well as the portion that will just be open and accessible for community users to post as well.
Terrific. So that new six-sided board, where is it going to be? Like where is it going to be erected?
It's going to be on Lillooet Avenue West as part of the new streetscape. We had to measure it kind of just so with how the sidewalk is. So we're going to be doing a final sort of layout this week, but it will be quite close still to the post office, but not directly in front.
Great, thank you. Anything further? Then I'll call the question. All in favor of the recommendation? It passes. Thank you. Item H, over to our Communications and Community Engagement Coordinator.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Vital. This report has been prepared in response to Council's direction following the adoption of the IDEA Framework and Action Plan on April 20th, 2026, and provides an overview of implementation during the first 90 days. Implementation to date has focused on incorporating IDEA principles into existing policies, programs, communications, engagement activities, and operational practices. The report is organized under the framework's 5 pillars. Beginning with clear information, staff have initiated reviews of high-use website content, forms, and public information using plain language principles. Work is also underway on the development of a communications and community engagement framework and policy that will embed IDEA principles into future communications and community engagement. Council has also seen improvements through initiatives such as Council Catch-Up and enhanced public notices which support greater accessibility and transparency. Under shared trust, the continued publication of What We Heard reports following public engagement activities to demonstrate how community input informs decision-making. Council also adopted the anti-racism and anti-racial discrimination policy during this reporting period, and staff have established an internal process to monitor implementation of the IDEA framework and support accountability across departments. The Open Doors pillar has resulted in several tangible improvements to accessibility and inclusion. This includes the installation of push-button door access at municipal facilities and continued collaboration with the Village's Accessibility Committee to advocate for accessibility recommendations throughout the village. Staff are also exploring accessibility enhancements for council meetings, including assistive listening technology and supports and agenda development software. Implementation under this pillar extends into community programming and public spaces too. Recent examples include the canoe and kayak launch, Live 521 play boxes along the beachfront, expanded wayfinding through updated street banners, and a new community bulletin board coming soon to Lilla Avenue West. Community connections cafes, lunch and learns, and other ongoing age-friendly initiatives also fall under this pillar. With respect to belonging in practice, staff are updating onboarding materials for elected officials to reflect IDEA responsibilities and expectations, while identifying future training opportunities related to accessibility and equity-informed service delivery for village staff. Finally, under real relationships, relationship building with Stateless continues to be an ongoing priority. Staff will be commencing a review of public language, acknowledgements, representation practices, and engagement approaches to support respectful and accurate communications. The first 90 days have focused on integrating the IDEA framework into the village's existing operations. This approach supports long-term sustainability by ensuring IDEA principles become part of the village's regular decision-making, service delivery, communications, and community engagement practices. And so the recommendation before council this evening is that council receive the IDEA framework and action plan implementation update for information.
Thank you.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Facio, seconded by Councillor Steinmetz. Discussion.
Thank you, Mayor Vital. First of all, I'm really grateful that this is a living, breathing document. There was always a concern that these things are put up on the shelf and kind of collecting dust, and I'm really grateful to staff that you're embracing this, embodying this in your day-to-day roles, and I think we all need to, and I think we're making progress, and I hope that maybe twice a year we can see updates like this. I would really appreciate that. One thing that's come up, and there was in an earlier discussion, we talked about reviewing all the committees after the general election, and I hope that we look at that process through this IDEA lens. And I might offend somebody now, but there was sometimes we strike committees, and staff and council has been able to vet some of these ideas for years in some cases. And they go to something like a candidate committee or a resort municipality engagement committee, and sometimes the committee members who are just lay people or politicians or staff, they don't feel like as prepared or as heard because ideas have been massaged internally and bubbled up internally. So I just hope that that when it comes to committees, we can look at how we govern ourselves in committees through this lens going forward. But I'm really grateful to see progress, and I hope we continue to see updates on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Facio?
Thank you, Mayor Viola. Just again, a thank you to our talented staff. It's another way in the last 18 months, staff, through recommendations from the council, have continuously worked to inform the public at large on most of the ongoings that happens in our community. It's a wonderful way, whether it's be the notice boards or social media or communications in other areas, open houses. It's just continuing all the time to let our residents know how to get involved and how to communicate with our council and staff. And thank you very much.
Councillor Jackson?
Thank you, Your Worship. This is something I'll just like to say something. I believe with committees, you have to have it so everybody feels very comfortable. And you cannot get too serious on anything. If you don't, if you take it too seriously, you won't achieve your goals. So the management of the committee is for everybody to have a little bit of fun. We have a stressful life, and everybody does. So I don't want to see committees managed, just want to see them have the ability to come in, do their job, and then go home happy. That way we'll get much more results. Thank you, Bishop.
And I like the idea, I mentioned it at Woods Park the other night, and a special thank you to one committee member who always seemed to bring baked banana bread to the committee meetings, right? Just, yeah.
We have a lot of fun at our
Good, good. And it's, I agree with you, Councillor Jackson, and yet we still have to maintain that structure with our committees to, also fall under some of the same policies and procedures that, like even at a council meeting, right? But yeah, as far as I can see there, we have good committee members right now. All right, if there's nothing further, call the question on that recommendation that council receive the idea framework and action plan implementation update for information. All in favor? Q. Passes. Corporate officer, item under bylaw 16A on pesticide use regulation bylaw.
Thank you. Yes, last month, council approved a recommendation from the Environmental Advisory Committee to direct staff to research a bylaw prohibiting certain herbicides for cosmetic purposes. The term pesticides, which includes herbicides, is used in provincial legislation. So for consistency, I'll use the same throughout the report. Council may regulate by bylaw the protection of the natural environment. However, it is recognized that this is an area that is also of interest to the provincial government. Accordingly, any cosmetic pesticide use bylaw adopted by a local government must align with the sphere of concurrent jurisdiction, environment, and wildlife regulation. This regulation clearly lays out that the local government authority to regulate the use of pesticides, except for excluded pesticides, for the purpose of maintaining outdoor trees, shrubs, flowers, or other ornamental plants and turf on residential and public land only. Excluded pesticides are defined in Schedule 2 of the Integrated Pest Management Regulation, which contains a list of 51 pesticides that council may not regulate. These pesticides are generally considered lower risk and have been specifically excluded by the province from certain regulatory requirements. Additionally, council may not regulate the use of pesticides for the management of pests that transmit human disease, impact agriculture or forestry, residential areas of farms, to or inside buildings or on land used for various purposes, including agriculture, forestry, public utilities. Several local governments throughout the province have enacted bylaws to regulate what is commonly called cosmetic pesticide use within the framework allowed by the provincial legislation. As pesticides are regulated both federally and provincially, the province has very narrowly defined local government authority on this matter, and so a lot of the local government bylaws tend to be very similar in content and structure. Attached to the report is a draft bylaw for council's consideration. It aligns with the provincial legislation and regulations, allowing for certain exceptions to control noxious weeds or alien invasive species. A common one here is Japanese knotweed. It also allows for the use of pesticides by a certified person or company for the purposes of addressing an infestation. In the report, I've listed the Japanese beetle as an example here, and you may have noticed we actually have throughout the village small green and yellow detection traps because there are some agricultural concerns that are being monitored by the, I think it's the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. So the definition of infestation within the bylaw and the requirement for the application of pesticides to be done by a certified person or company is intended to prevent the use of products like glyphosate for treating common lawn weeds, dandelions. If adopted, the bylaw could impact all residential properties and public lands. And I didn't note it in the report, but it could also impact the operations of several landscaping companies that operate in the village. This type of bylaw really relies heavily on community buy-in for success. Bylaw enforcement is an important tool. It can be challenging in this case, difficult to prove what someone is using on the lawn. Hard if you're not witnessing it and there. So ensuring that the public understands the purpose of the bylaw, the potential impacts of cosmetic pesticide use, and providing some alternative methods will be very important for ensuring compliance with the bylaw. So staff are recommending that council consider conducting public education and engagement prior to consideration of third reading with the goal of informing the public, assessing the current understanding and community support, gathering feedback, and identifying any unintended consequences in the bylaw. Lastly, if council were to adopt this bylaw, there would be subsequent amendments to the bylaw notice enforcement bylaw to incorporate some fines for bylaw enforcement. So I'll read out the first recommendation, that pesticide use bylaw number 1245, 2026 be introduced and given first reading.
So moved, Mayor.
Moved by Councillor Facio, seconded by Councillor Schweinbetz. No discussion on first reading. So I'll call the question. All in favor? Passes. Thank you.
The next recommendation is that pesticide use regulation bylaw number 1245, 2026 be given second reading.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Schweinbetz, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Discussion on second reading? Councillor Schweinbetz.
Thank you, Mayor Vidal. Yeah, this came up for a few months at the environmental committee. It was launched, or sorry, the motion was initially originated by Johnny DeMartin and supported by the entire committee, the environmental committee. And my understanding is that the village had something like this for a decade, and then some provincial regulations changed and we didn't have it for a couple of years. I think it'd be a good benefit for the community to adopt this. I think staff for jumping on this so quickly. I really do appreciate all the research that you did, corporate officer, and I'm hoping that council will support this. One question though, if I could, Mayor Vidal, to corporate officer, is there a list of prohibited pesticides that we would generate that?
Yeah.
Oh, there is a list, okay, I just.
Sorry, I can answer that through you to Councillor Schweinben. So it's less, we can provide a list of prohibited, like some of the more common prohibited pesticides. That would be part of the community education and engagement. But the way it's defined in the regulation is there's all these pesticides, I think 51 pesticides that we can't regulate. So it is a little bit difficult to come up with an exhaustive list. It's basically anything that's not these 51 pesticides. So it will be part of a communication strategy for us to put it into some plain language so that it's easy for people to understand this is a yes and this is a no for this purpose. Yeah.
If I may continue, we saw with the community of Bloom people, you know, you don't need pesticides to have a great garden. In fact, a healthy garden, you're managing weeds in different ways, in more sustainable ways. And the reality is we have lots of mysterious illnesses that are happening, and maybe it could be caused by these pesticides. So I'm very grateful that we can have this policy going forward, and we can stop spraying our community except in very exceptional circumstances.
Anyone else? No? Corporate officer just looking for like a little bit of clarification. And the reason we got rid of the original pesticide bylaw was because the province came in with regulations. So council at the time felt there was no longer no need to have our own bylaw. But I fully support, I think this will enhance any of the provincial regulations. So I do support it. But corporate officer, we can't, our own bylaw cannot override provincial regulations, right? So I think that getting the word out will be really, really important. And, you know, I can see at an open house having, you know, environment committee members there explaining the new bylaw, but I support the recommendation. So anything else? So we're voting on second reading. All in favor? Passes.
Thank you. And the final recommendation is that staff be directed to conduct public education and engagement regarding the draft bylaw and report back to council with the results prior to consideration of third reading and adoption.
So moved, Madam Lidle.
Moved by Councillor Facio, second by Councillor Jackson. Any discussion on that? And I'll call the question. All in favor? That passes. Thank you, corporate officer. Mr. Cossey, thank you for your patience.
Very educational.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a follow-up to our public hearing that was held on June 1st. The parcel is located at 889 Hot Springs Road and is Zone C2 neighborhood commercial and is located adjacent to Hot Springs Road. All along the boundaries of this site, the parcels of adjacent land are zoned for R2 residential activities. Parent parcel is 0.4 hectares in size. The applicant is seeking to create 2 lots, and that if approved by the approving officer will both exceed the minimum lot size requirement of 464 square meters. The site is designated as low density residential, so the question becomes, how are we allowing a commercial operation into this section or into this area? I draw your attention to section 7.2F of the current official community plan. It states the following, that we consider careful designed neighborhood commercial development in the southern portion of the municipality, which provides for daily and occasional shopping needs for the adjacent areas. So this allows the use of this area for commercial activities as well. So now turning to our public hearing discussion, before I get started on this, I'd just like to point out that any land use issues that have been identified through this process are fair game for the council to consider how they're gonna move forward with this application. Where do we get this information from? Well, there's been a lot of discussion that none of these things are put into the public record, which is wrong. We receive comments, the verbal submissions, the referrals, and the written submissions are all part of the public record, public hearing meetings. We take all of that information and then we bring back the land use issues for council's further consideration. And before we get started on this as well, I'd just like to point out that we've been bombarded with a very narrow definition of what a storage unit is in various comments. The suggestion is that they're only industrial, and this is not true, as outlined in the chart below. We'll get into in a few minutes. One of the very first things that we had made reference in the verbal submissions that this is an industrial use and not a commercial use. So for your information, on page 91 of the report, I put down the category of all the typical users, the primary purpose, the unit size, access, zoning, and then we compared them with the commercial versus the industrial. In simple terms, commercial self-storage is mainly for secure, flexible storage, while industrial storage is designed for larger scale businesses, warehousing equipment, and operational needs. The key question here from a zoning perspective, which needs to be addressed, is not just what is being stored, but how the site is being used. And in this case, the use is definitely commercial. So with that, Your Worship, staff is recommending that there's no follow-up is required on that land use issues. The second point that was raised, that this is not a true definition of a personal use. For some strange reason, personal use was seen as only cutting of hair and doing of fingernails and other things like that. That is not the intent of a personal use service. Personal use service is when an individual is employed by themselves and they're offering a service out to the public. It could be a consulting agency, it could be whatever it is that they're dealing with. The focus is upon the owner or owners and the proposed economic activities. Where the service is delivered, by an individual other than the owners or owners, then it is no longer a personal use service. So based upon that, we need to do a new definition, needed to be created as outlined below. So the recommendation, Your Worship, is that we refer to it as a commercial storage unit or commercial self-storage facility. And we've outlined an example of this definition in bylaw 1244/2026, section 2A on page 95 of your agenda package. The third issue of concern was the beautification of the corridor into Harrison Hot Springs. As we're all aware, that's the main corridor and into and out of Harrison Hot Springs. Staff comments on this issue: the developer will be required to enter into a landscaping agreement with the village as outlined in a previous council meeting and in part of the recommendation today. The recommended follow-up task, staff would create a landscaping agreement in negotiations with the applicant to address all of these issues. Out of the written submissions, a total of 8 submissions were received. Of these, 3 submissions did not mention any land use concerns, but indicated they were not in support of the rezoning application. Listed below in a summary of the land use is a summary of the land use issues from the other 5 submissions. There were 6 issues that were identified. Misapplication of the term personal services use, and we've already addressed that. 1, degradation of the town's entrance, we've already addressed that issue, and traffic concerns. Please note that the applicant has provided a traffic impact assessment report dated September 3rd, 2025, and this has indicated there's no queuing or operational issues are anticipated along Hot Springs Road. Recommended follow-up action, no follow-up is required on this issue. Emergency and fire concerns. The application was referred to the fire department previously, and the fire department comments back dated December 9, 2025, indicate that the fire department has no concerns. Then there was some discussion about the business modeling approach. We cannot get into that type of issue at any time through this process. Everybody has the right to go bankrupt, for lack of a better term. Therefore, no comments from staff are being provided. The application is a contradiction of a walkable community. Staff comments on this issue: a commercial self-storage facility can support a walkable community when it is designed and located as a useful neighborhood service rather than as an isolated car-oriented warehouse, often located outside of town or in the industrial areas, which is far further away from the residential area. So listed below are ways that the commercial self-storage facilities can help with the walkability issue. And you can notice on page 93, there are 6 points that we've dealt with: that it supports smaller homes, reduces longer car trips, serves local businesses, can activate a mixed-use area, can provide practical infrastructure, and encourages sustainable transportation. Because you're in the area, you can maybe just walk, do whatever it is you need to do at the facility, and then walk back to your residence. The main caveat that this facility must be appropriately scaled and designed. A large blank fenced vehicle-heavy storage complex can undermine walkability, but a compact, well-landscaped mixed-use or street-friendly storage facility can be a practical neighborhood amenity that supports dense, walkable living. Recommended follow-up action: no follow-up is required at this point. Other zoning amendment bylaw considerations: the amendment bylaw will limit the use of the commercial self-storage facility to only the C2 zone located at 889 Hot Springs Road, and this is outlined on bylaw 1244/2026, item 2B, as identified on page 95 of your agenda package. With that, your worship, staff recommendations are that zoning amendment bylaw number 1244/2026 be given third reading as amended, and that zoning amendment bylaw 1244/2026 be adopted, subject to a landscaping agreement being accepted by the Village of Harrison Hot Springs as per the site plan submitted with the applicable development variance permit, and the site plan presented at the public hearing on June 1, 2026, and the applicant entered into a works and services agreement with the village.
Thank you, Mr. Consi. Corporate Officer, would you like these individual?
Either one is fine.
Either one, okay, let's take them individually then. So number one, that zoning amendment bylaw, number 1244/2026 be given third reading as amended. Is there a move by Councillor Jackson? Is there a second? Seconded by Councillor Facio. Discussion on that.
Thank you, Mayor Vital. A lot of discussion about this one, to tell you the truth, and frankly, some of this started before my time, so I played some catch up and all that sort of thing, but a lot of people have reached out to me on that part of town, and most people are generally supportive of this. I think if done, people are concerned about how it's going to look on the gateway of our community, and I think the developer intends to make it look really good, and I trust that. I think if it's orange roofs and orange doors, it will stand out like a sore thumb. So I'm hoping that staff and developer can come to a look and street view that is that fits into our community. The problem that I have with all of this, and I think I'm going to need an amendment to be able to support this, is the following. That is something that Mr. Cossey mentioned on the bottom of page 89. That is, and this is from our OCP, carefully consider design designated neighborhood commercial development in the southern portion of the municipality, which provides for daily and occasional shopping needs for the adjacent area. And I want to caution staff and council that what we're proposing tonight is to redesignate that entire parcel, which is current C2, but to add this definition for commercial storage, which I think most people will appreciate that for the outer perimeter property. But the carrot in all of this, the main interest that most people that I talk to in the community is the grocery store. Some kind of a Rosedale style grocery store, full service, that provides for the community. And what we're doing tonight is removing that requirement to do that. We are allowing on that second parcel, which isn't quite legally divided, we are allowing that to be, for the whole thing potentially to be storage. And we lose control as council. So that's the amendment language that I'm looking for your direction to staff to provide us is, can we treat the two parcels separately at this time and not give blank control for that and the potential for the whole thing to be storage. And I trust the current developer, but we would lose control if it was sold down the road, or if there's some economic difficulties and suddenly the plans change to go from store to storage. So I'm looking for some language and an amendment to satisfy me.
Mr. Kasi, can you respond to Councillor Swyman's concerns or questions?
Thank you, Your Worship. The short answer is, at this particular point in time, no, we can't treat it as two separate parcels. It's one legal entity. Once it gets through the subdivision process, then there's the ability to, the commercial activities that are identified will fall into those individual lots respectively. This is just like any other rezoning application. The applicant may run into some financial difficulty and may never be able to get it going. That's not for us to worry about at this particular point in time. The issue at this point in time is to determine what are the benefits that this application will have to the village of Harrison Hot Springs. If you want to say no to it, then you can look at all of the negative sides of it, but it's the control is right here, right now, with the fact, how does council feel about it? Do they want it to proceed?
If I may respond, Mayor Vital, no, I feel good about it. As a storage facility surrounding a very robust full-service market retail store. My concern is, how do we make sure that happens? And I don't know if we approve this entire parcel tonight as the C2 with the commercial storage, then we lose control. And maybe we're putting the cart before the horse. Maybe we wait till it's subdivided and then come back and do what we're doing.
Councillor Fazio.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I think from the beginning of this process, on a couple of occasions, the proponent has confirmed that the store will be renovated, and I believe it did say it would be more of a, whether you want to use the term like Rosedale, similar type of store would be great. But from the beginning, and I believe the documentation, it's all part of that subdivision is the storage plus the convenience store opening as well. Now, when it comes to the definitions of industrial and commercial, well, industrial to me means gravel pits, cement business, furniture manufacturing, container business, manufacturing plants. Well, this is just a storage place. I mean, I have one in Agassiz. I believe that's the one that looks very nice, right down by the produce store there. Very nicely built, for my opinion. In regards to that area of Harrison being commercial, well, there's been 2 pubs there over the years. We've had 2 stores, the existing one and the Holiday Park used to have a store many years ago. We've had 2 mechanical businesses there, one repairing cars, another one was repairing cars and a paint shop. and we have an existing catering business, all commercial. Concerns about traffic, well, we have two major size campgrounds on Hot Springs Road with I don't know how many hundreds of cars, if you want to talk about traffic concerns. Here, this is a place where, and also with this type of facility, I would certainly hope that all the cars that are parked on the streets from the day they buy the house to the time they sell the house, because their garages are either converted into workshops or for the more storage than they anticipated, that this would relieve the off-street parking as well by having a facility where you can store all the goods that you don't need anymore. So I don't see any problem in trying to say this is an industrial area. Well, it's not. That is an industrial area. There's nothing. All you're doing, you're renting a storage space and putting your stuff in there. And the store. I mean, we have to trust that the proponent is going to open this up and make a great store, which is needed at that south end of the village, like we used to have many years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Facio. Councillor Jackson, you have some comments?
Yeah, my comment is very simple. We cannot guarantee any business. If it's
Oh,
zoned for something,
right.
it's zoned, that's the bottom line. They take their chances. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then you'll have to do something else.
Yeah.
So we don't want to go down that slippery slope, that's for sure.
I agree with you, Councillor Jackson. Council has a role in this, right? And that is to approve or disapprove recommendations that are put in front of us based on the expertise of planners, fire department, Ministry of Transportation. I know one of my initial concerns was access by the fire department. Should something happen, was there enough room for apparatus to be able to negotiate through that? And I thought it was a valid concern. Well, our fire department, who are the experts on it, have come back to us and said, we don't have an issue with it. So I'm not in a position to question that any further.
A call question on the motion. I think we've dealt with this for over 2
All right.
years. I think it's time to get through it and have a vote, Your Worship.
All right, I'll call the question then. All in favor of the first recommendation? Opposed? The motion carries. Second recommendation, that zoning amendment bylaw number 1244, 2026 be adopted, subject to a landscaping agreement being accepted by the Village of Harrison Hot Springs as per the site plan submitted with the applicable development variance permit and the site plan presented at a public hearing on June 1st, 2026, and B, the applicant entering into a works and services agreement with the village. Is there a mover and seconder for that? Councillor Jackson and Councillor Facio, thank you. Any further discussion on that? Councillor Schweinman?
Mayor Talon, Mayor Vital, I'm so sorry, Mayor Vital, I have it, I'm sorry to misname you. Question to our planner, is this is not the time where we do form and character and look and all of the landscaping? Do we have an opportunity here to make suggestions, or is that done later?
Your worship, yeah, it's, I don't know how to, is given staff direction to go off and do these negotiations. And this is when we will be doing all of that. As to whether or not it comes back to if the council wants it to come back and be vetted through them, that would be kind of interesting. That means that we haven't really adopted anything. So I would just leave it the way it is with the council, the staff, or council's giving direction to staff to go off and negotiate in good faith, because the expertise that the village staff has on these issues is immense. It's not like as if we're going to go out there and have a Lego building put in place. Sorry for my,
Fine.
I'm just,
Yeah.
but anyhow, yes, that would be good direction, and then we've got the expertise in-house to make sure that it is a well thought out design.
Thank you, Mr. Cossey.
Which, if I can just clarify, but generally the design is gonna be as shown, as drawn now, with low level, low slung, flat roofs. Not
Yes.
going 2 stories.
That this is why we've said in here to follow those requirements that has been presented numerous times already. This is nothing new, in my humble opinion. We've dealt with this many, many times.
Yeah, my only concern with this is what I mentioned already, is that both parcels are getting the same treatment, and we would lose control. That's my only, I wish the developer well. I think it's gonna be fantastic with the store and the storage.
And,
Thank you.
I think we're ready to call the question then. All in favor with the second recommendation? Opposed? All right, opposed by Councillor Schweinmetz. Thank you. All right. There is no new business this evening, but there is a notice of motion submitted by Mayor Tallon. Corporate Officer, would you like to read?
Thank you. Yes, on page 97 of the agenda package, there is a background report. The notice of motion won't be spoken to this evening or discussed by council, but I will read out the recommendation, and Mayor Tallon will speak to it at the next regular council meeting. So the recommendation is that staff be directed to engage staff from school district number 78 Fraser Cascade and jointly prepare a new memorandum of understanding for council and the school board's consideration regarding a civic campus proposal that clearly outlines the purpose of the MOU as an exploratory without prejudice document, the intent of which is to formally discuss a potential land exchange between the school board and the village. Incorporates clear language stating the village's requirement to preserve the values and features of the forested area and mature trees to the greatest extent possible. Incorporates a provision that both parties will explore options to enhance the use of forested areas. Confirms that any exchange of land contained in Fire Hall Park will require the approval of the electors, either through an alternative approval process or assent voting, and allows for consideration of other possible configurations of the school and other buildings on the land being considered in this process.
Thank you, Corporate Officer. The next item is question period for items relevant to the agenda. Before we start, I just wanted to offer a little bit of clarity. There seemed to be some confusion today on the notice of motion. So when a notice of motion is presented at an agenda, it is not meant for discussion or voting by council. A notice of motion simply advises council members and people in the gallery or online that this is coming at a subsequent council meeting, and it allows both the public and it allows council members to be able to research it further. So if anyone wants to speak to other agenda items, please come forward.
John Allen, 398 Hot Springs Road. I'd like to ask council why you have passed the motions that you have tonight to give third reading and adoption to bylaw 1244. The proper process, which is well established in law, is that if you're in the middle of processing a zoning bylaw, particularly a land use bylaw, And in the middle of that process, you decide you're going to change some wording in that bylaw. The law says, and it's clear by precedent and by case law, the law says that the proper thing to do is to go back and repeal first and second reading and start over. And when you start over, you must present to the public the new bylaw that you're proposing, because the old one is now gone, and the amended bylaw is given first and second reading, and then you give the public the opportunity to hear their comments on the bylaw that you're actually proposing to adopt. By shortcutting this and slipping in these changes to bylaw 1244 at the last minute, you've denied the public the opportunity to talk about the bylaw which is in front of you, and that is illegal. So why would council do this is my question. There are a lot of issues around this that need to be explored and should be explored. The proper way to do it is repeal all of what you've done tonight and the first and second and go back to the first reading.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you,
I'm just-
Mr. Allen.
I'm asking why you wouldn't follow the proper process. It leaves your bylaw vulnerable to being thrown out by any court.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Allen. I will ask Mr. Cossey to respond to your question and to your concerns. Mr. Cossey.
Thank you, Your Worship. As I mentioned earlier, the legal way of doing this is what we have followed. Because these issues were identified at a public hearing, through the public hearing process, they are fair game for the council to do this. We haven't changed the use of this at all. The public hearing process that we went through requested that we don't call it a personal use establishment. They also requested that it be narrowed down just specifically to this site. So we've done that at the public hearing process. We've done nothing wrong.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cossey. Is there anyone online who?
Anyone on Zoom, if you have a question, please raise your hand. If you have one, Julie. Should be able to unmute now, Julie.
Hi. This is bizarre for me, but I agree with John Allen. You have not gone through the proper processes. You totally changed from personal use to industrial use, and you need to go through 1, 2, 3 hearings.
All right, I wasn't.
Personal use is not industrial, is not storage use. They're two different things. And I will be going to the province to have this voided.
Mr. Cossey, it was, you gave a full explanation of the difference between an industrial, commercial usage and personal, or not personal, I'm sorry.
Yes, we've done that.
Yeah.
That's through the process. This is not an industrial storage facility. It is a commercial storage facility.
Yeah, thank you.
That's not what I'm saying. It could be a commercial storage unit, and that is not the same use as personal use.
We were defining it earlier under the personal services use requirements that during the public hearing process, individuals expressed their concern that it was not a personal service use. So they requested it through that process. My understanding is that they wanted it changed into a commercial storage unit facility. We've done that.
And that is different.
The public hearing process, nothing has changed. It is
It
still
is a different
storage
use.
facility.
It is a different use.
Excuse me to the caller. Please let Mr. Cossey finish his explanation.
And
for you.
explain how it's not a different use.
Julie, all right, please allow Mr. Cossey to give the explanation you're looking for. Mr. Cossey, go ahead.
Okay. When we went into the public hearing, the use was defined as a storage facility. And we were defining it at that particular point in time under the personal services use category. We found through that process that wasn't, people were not comfortable with that. So we just switched the definition. I shouldn't say switched, we're using the definition now of a commercial storage facility, whatever you wish, storage facility, but it's still the same use. Nothing has changed. It's not like we got a new developer in here saying, no, here's a bait and switch model. It's still the same diagrams that they used 2.5 years ago. It's still the same use that they presented 2.5 years ago. We understand some individuals that are opposed to it and don't really want to understand. They just want to start nitpicking, that's fine. They can do that. We follow the process that has been as required by the courts of law when we're going through a public hearing process.
Can I speak? Words matter in bylaws. Commercial storage units versus personal use. Words matter in legal documents. We will see if the province cares.
Thank you. Any other further?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn by Councillor Jackson. Is there a second? Any discussion on that? All right, then I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you, everyone. We're adjourned.
Thank you, Mayor Vital.
Can I just say that nobody at the public hearing spoke about